acting scared to smile, hitting me up with questions like who, what, where, and how. I move crowds with freestyles written. The first 30 years of my life I wrote down in composition. Had to take time with the art, mastering my melodies and poetry is how I make them my marks. Record sales are irrelevant. What matters to me is what I write down and what you gain from the intelligence. The plan is in motion. Performed on stage with cats who claim that they hot, but in front of crowds they froze out. Doing this the day that I rest. Top mix, the perfect blend of music and God in the flesh. I'm a verbal martial artist, a black belt in Taekwondo flow. This ain't bragging, I'm just letting you know that I can spit 16 more. Went from underground to encore, and still while keeping it pure, for sure.
Where you coming from? Where you going to? Experience what life trying to show you. Take what life throws at your head. Come on, gain from it and be strong and move on. Where you coming from? Where you going to? Experience what life trying to show you. Take what life throws at your head. Gain from it and be strong and move on. Freehand, big pen skipping through deep jams. The rap speech deep in the sheets in. Program beats from fam lyricism, heat and the sheets in. I give it to your man to eat and hopefully digest. My style is crafted, timeless. I won't cross over for progress. You want classics and dissect the styles I crafted. No quotes known as plastic. I went from underground to indie, to unsigned hype, to simply the MC known as sickly. When they floss, I cross off another rap star that's subpar, like Tiger Woods and Gold. Y'all lost me when SoundScan defined your sound, man. Artists can't rap, but they graded at counting. Sales stats, the only facts that cats wanna mention in rap to cover up the skills they lack. Come on, man. Where you coming from? Where you going to? Experience what life trying to show you. Take what life throws at your head. Come on, gain from it and be strong and move on. Where you coming from? Where you going to? Experience what life trying to show you. Take what life throws at your head. Gain from it and be strong and move on. Come on.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening to this. This is another episode of Beers, Beats, and Bailey. My name is Matthew Bailey. Alongside me is the
incomparable Ricardo Medina, the imitable Ricardo Medina.
unconquerable
Yeah.
Ricardo Medina.
Yeah, so today's episode, this is what, episode 10, Matthew?
This is episode 8. Yes, episode 8.
I keep thinking episode 10 because I just watched roughly 10 episodes of The Man in the High Castle, which is what we'll be talking about in this episode. We both saw last night. We saw The Hunger Games, the latest one. That is Mockingjay Part 2. And then Matthew is going to do a review of
Master of None, the latest TV show to come out of Netflix, and arguably, a little spoiler alert, one of their best.
this is Aziz Ansari, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's the guy from, I don't want to call him an Indian guy, but technically he is the Indian guy from Parks and Recreation. He also had a book that came out this year. He had a stand-up show that came out this year as well too. But now this is like his breakout into like doing his own TV show, really.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty funny comedian. Again, I'll admit I'm not a big fan of him. I'm more of a Louis C.K. type guy. But he has a really funny bit with R. Kelly. Look it up. So I recommend that. And we have to talk about some nice little hypey stuff coming out in the comic book world.
Yeah, we should actually start off with that too as well.
Yeah, so we're talking about Civil War trailer.
Yes.
Pretty damn awesome. This Monday, which will be tomorrow from the time of this recording, and that'll be roughly yesterday, we'll be talking about. We'll probably input it in a quick little Skype conversation, maybe in a quick edit. To talk about the Batman v Superman trailer that's going to be showing up. Some Batman v Superman extra footage we're supposed to get during Gotham. So we're gonna talk about that as well. Jessica Jones came out. Pretty good, not bad. I didn't like it as much as Daredevil,
Okay.
but this.
It's just that people hyped it up way more than Daredevil. People thought that, Jessica Jones makes Daredevil look like child's play, in comparison.
It is more risque in some ways, I'll admit, but I didn't get into it as much.
Is it because of the character?
Right, yeah, I think she's not that popular as a character as compared to Daredevil. But what happens is that this guy who's Doctor Who, what's his name? Yeah, Kilgrave. David Tennant. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah.
So David Tennant.
Right, so he was the main villain. He's actually pretty slimy in this. Pretty disturbing, actually, because it's the nature of his character. And his power set perfectly counters and complements Jessica's power set. It's pretty dark. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's some anal sex in this. Some pretty adult stuff. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. Quick comparison. You probably might see the picture on the internet, but it was a comparison I noticed almost very early on. That Marvel's movies are relatively light-hearted. Most of them. I think probably the darkest, if anything, would probably be Winter Soldier, Captain America. But the TV show stuff is very dark. Very, very dark. Like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, quite dark.
Yeah. And I think it actually kind of makes sense because you kind of don't want to have, the Avengers films to be this way. And then you're going on Netflix and you're seeing Daredevil, you're seeing Jessica Jones, and they're basically the same thing like what you saw on big screen. They have to be different, whether it's tonally or thematically or whatever. Yeah,
I think what it is for me is that I notice is really just kind of the platform. So Netflix, you get away with the dark stuff.
Yeah,
the edgy stuff, right. Yeah. But like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not particularly dark at all. It's actually quite light. However, it seems to be the opposite for DC. The TV stuff is very light. All the TV stuff is nice.
Flash, Arrow in a sense, you name it, yeah.
Yeah, Arrow, and then Gotham is trying to be dark, but it's like Tim Burton dark. Not really dark, kind of silly.
Yeah, more kind of scandal, kind of dark,
And but so far, what seemed to be shaping up with Zack Snyder's vision in particular is the movies are quite dark. Right, that's kind of it was one of the big selling points. For or against, it depends on how you look at it. For some people, this was a good thing. The Man of Steel was actually quite dark for the most part. For a lot of people, it was.
It wasn't the popular take on Superman that we know. It wasn't like the sort of light-hearted, up and away. It was more like, this is a man who has powers and he has a responsibility. He has to push himself to, do what he has to do to save the earth, to save the day.
Yeah, and they make it pretty dark with the ending. Everybody's probably one of the most controversial, surprisingly most controversial for me. I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Me too. I understood it. I understood why he did, but I was just surprised that a lot of people like, oh my God, why did he do that? That's against his rules and against his character. Like,
no, but for me, the movie was blatantly Superman Begins. So the idea is that he will never kill again. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing. So the whole idea of Superman don't kill. They'll say, no, he had to at least kill once. So, him never killing is a little ridiculous.
Exactly.
So he had to learn the lesson. Yeah. And the thing is that, I'll say with Jessica Jones, for the most part, again, I don't want to spoil anything because if I talk about episode 1,
don't spoil
right, it's a problem. It's real hard for me to talk about this and not spoil. It's very well done, though. But it hits the ground running. It's a story. I personally, I have a few people who say they prefer it to Daredevil, but I don't prefer it to Daredevil. And the only reason Daredevil worked really well is because of Wilson Fisk, Kingpin. Yes. His characterization was excellent. Really very, very good characterization. They really made it work. This is, who's the actor for that? He was in... Vincent D'Onofrio. Right.
Was also in Jurassic World.
Right, yeah.
He was the military.
Right, yeah. And they made it really work. And with Daredevil and the guy Foggy, although by the way, the guy who played Foggy in Daredevil was in Hunger Games. He was the kind of mute guy, what he beard.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, same actor.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, he was in it. The thing is, comparing Jessica Jones and Daredevil is that it's a nice build up to what we're going to get is basically the Defenders. So how Marvel going to build up to Avengers? How they did the same build up? Everybody got their movie. Yeah. Then they get a one-off story together. We're going to get that. So up next is Luke Cage. And that's pretty much it.
I just have a question though. Critical praise aside, does Jessica Jones actually fit within the mold of this whole dark side of the Marvel?
Yeah, totally. Because the whole point of her character is that she's kind of a bit of a detective kind of thing. She's not as rigorous as Daredevil. Right. But what works is her character herself, like especially her life, how she was abused, all of that stuff. And then her relationship, again, if you know the comics, you'll probably know what it is, why Purple Man is so sinister and disgusting. And they really make him work in this. He's real sick in this. He's probably one of the darkest villains, I'll say, that Marvel has so far. But his power set is perfectly complementary to her power set. Why you could understand why he could fight her and why she can't really fight against him, and she's really vulnerable against this guy, and it really works for the most part.
So is it watchable? Can you recommend it, or is it something you just had to kind of wait a little while and check it out when
Yeah, totally. I totally recommend it. Give it. I binge watched it. I didn't have a problem with it. I found myself actually running through this faster than I did Daredevil. Daredevil's a little bit of a slog at times for me. Couple of
the first few episodes, but then it kind of picks up after episode 5 or 6, I believe. And in a good way too. It really picks up. It really feels like you're actually watching like a movie. Actually, the way how the pacing is, when you look at all the episodes together.
All right. So what else we talk about? We have that.
We have to talk about the Civil War trailer, though.
Just address more comic stuff. So that Civil War trailer, pretty damn awesome.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, pretty damn awesome. I like how they do. What I like about it is that they're making Cap. Okay, so the comic focus on, you could say Age of Ultron is more like the comic in terms of that freedom versus security argument, and you could say Winter Soldier already kind of had the argument. Mm-hmm. So with Civil War, they put in. I think I like the fact that they put in Cap more in a moral domain of the moral gray area, because Cap throughout the entire series, in the movies and in the comic, was never particularly gray, right? His attitude was that the law is the law, if you're right. But his attitude is that you shouldn't obey the law if it goes against the ethics, because they wanted registration, right. So he was against the law. But you understood why he was against the law. But in this, the way of the trailer making out, like he's trying to save a wanted criminal for who's been doing a lot of shenanigans against him as a terrorist for roughly 50 years.
And that criminal being the Winter Soldier, who is one of the major villains. I wouldn't say he is the major villain, but he was like the standout bad guy in that movie.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that the way how at least how this trailer framed it, they put in Cap in a little slightly gray area in the sense that he's defending a criminal, but it's his friend.
Yeah, friend from back in the 40s.
From back in the 40s, he come back, and a lot of people want to kill him, and they want to at least prosecute him, rightfully so. But we're not sure where they're going with it. They have some nice little.
There's more to it than just do we arrest this guy?
Right. Yeah. So, but the trailer makes it out as if Cap totally kind of a little bit in the wrong for defending Bucky in this way. Bucky was a criminal for some of it. Doesn't matter if he was brainwashed. We could argue whether or not he was.
And he was part of Hydra. He did most of the dirty work anyway for decades, actually. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, he was brainwashed for the most part, but we're not sure how they're going to do it. And then they brought in a lot of cool people. So they have Iron Man in this. He was kind of the main thing in Civil War in the comic. Hawkeye in it. Scarlet Witch in it. Yes, she is in it. Right, and then the big breakout is Black Panther.
Yeah.
We finally seen him, and the costumes looks fantastic in my opinion.
Still don't know who he is, though, like the actor. Like we don't see him.
Well, I know. Well, we already know the actor. That's Chadwick Boseman. He played Jackie Robinson in 42. Yeah, and then he played this fella. Gosh, famous singer.
Oh, he was in that James Brown.
James Brown, right? He was James Brown, the James Brown biopic. Yeah, pretty good in both films. Chadwick Boseman is not sure if he'll make the role work, but we'll see.
Yeah, so we also have Anthony Mackie reprising his role as Falcon. Yes. And there's some nice little flying stuff that he did in the trailer that look really badass.
Yeah, look badass. And then the big scene is like this wicked wombo combo double team that Winter Soldier and Cap. Yeah, no, that little piece just looks so sweet. I mean, it does look so sweet. He just get wham, pass the shield box off his head, Bucky catch it, pass back the shield to Cap. I mean, it was really, really awesome to watch.
And there's like memes and gifs of it right now on Facebook. People just like really commenting on that one fight scene.
Somebody did hilarious. The two funniest memes for me is somebody did the famous clip to the Wombo combo. So there's a famous clip called Wombo combo where these two guys team up on this one guy in Smash Brothers, and everybody in the audience start yelling. Right, that was one. And then the second is, remember in Rick and Morty when Summer and Rick got buff to go beat up the double? Right, yeah, they had X-Code give it to you. Yeah, they had that double team beat it up on the same bit. Somebody did a really funny bit with it. No, but it's a fantastic trailer to start off. I really expect this movie to be good.
Yeah. One thing, what I like about it, it was something I was worried about at first when I heard, the announcement for the Civil War movie. Is that I thought they were going to go and really try to emulate the actual comic itself, bring in a shit ton of superheroes and have them fight together in one movie. I was worried it was going to be like what Age of Ultron ultimately became, but it's what I was surprised by and really glad about is that it stayed within that same sort of realistic world that was set up with the Avengers and Captain America with the Winter Soldier. It wasn't some sort of over the topness. It was grounded in reality. It was just these few characters. Maybe there's more coming up, but who knows? But it's just these few characters in this real world that got split because Hydra being revealed and whatnot, and just what happens after. And I can't wait to see what will happen.
Yeah. So awesome trailer. Really, really expect it to be good. Tomorrow, again, well, from the time of this recording, we are going to get a trailer for new footage for Batman v Superman during Gotham. So we might do a quick little edit chop here, maybe, and talk about it.
Or suggest if we do our next podcast.
Maybe, yeah. But we could do we might do a quick edit chop. Do it in Skype quick after we see it. I might call you Monday night. Hey, you see it?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Ricardo, call him a first night.
Nah, yeah, run it one time. Talk about it quick. Also, what else? Right, so this episode we're also going to be talking about Hunger Games.
Yes.
Last night. I was supposed to go watch Steve Jobs, but I didn't feel like it. Yes, I didn't feel like it. Yeah, no, so we will just talk about Hunger Games. Next week I'll talk about things. And then next week we're going to talk about Creed.
Yes.
Because I'm hearing very, very good stuff about it. It's, again, I'm kind of pissed off that stuff takes a week to come down damn Trinidad. Because I need to watch that shit immediately. I heard Creed is quite good. I heard very good news about it. So I heard, that is why it's like up there.
From Stallone,
Yeah. No, but I mean, the first Rocky. Let's remember, the first Rocky is,
Yes.
it's an Oscar-worthy movie. It won.
Yeah, best film, best
Yeah,
director.
exactly.
Stallone, no, I don't remember if he ever got nominated for best actor. Maybe he did, but it would be great if he gets nominated for next year's.
Yeah, and I would be really cool if that happens. But the movie, like a couple of little small movies coming up for me that I really want to see. I was supposed to see what it was. It was Hunger Games, something else. Oh, Spotlight. I was supposed to see again. Get it next time because that's Oscar worthy. It's probably one of the biggest Oscar worthy movies for the year.
Spotlight. What's Spotlight about again?
Spotlight's about the Catholic Church, Boston shenanigans. Oh crap! Was some movie come out that I was supposed to see?
Another theatrical.
Yeah, theatrical release. Son of Saul. That I heard was very, very good. I ain't got a chance to see it yet. I think I'm gonna get a chance in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure who I had to talk to somebody.
All right.
But
Son of Saul is about what?
A guy who the story is about. He's a guy who had to deal. He's basically a first person's perspective of the Holocaust.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just his point of view and all the crazy shit going on.
Yeah.
And him in I don't think it's Auschwitz, but in one of the other concentration camps. Can't remember. But I just heard about it. Big news, big. That is like a big movie for the year. So I expect that to be probably in my top 10 if I see it on time.
Right.
I think it's going to be a top 10. I know Spotlight for sure in my top 10. In fact, Spotlight might be winning. Get the feeling might win. Creed, I get the feeling that might be up there, yeah. I get the feeling Creed because we have a serious contender this year. There's some good movies coming out this year for me. So I feel I'm gonna have to do the big split and split it up into the 30 and have it in categories so everybody could get a top 10 space.
Oh, you gotta do like a top 20? Oh gosh.
Yeah, I get the feeling I might be doing that. No, it has so many good movies.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like this year, and actually, was gonna see this at the end of this podcast, or maybe at the last podcast we will do for this year. But really, this year had some fantastic films.
Yeah. And
just bringing it down to 10 doesn't really make any sense. I have to do a 20. Like I was thinking about it for a lot of time, but I really have to do that 20.
And I expect Star Wars to be, if Star Wars live up to its hype, then that might be there too.
Yeah, but the downside to it though is that we won't be getting Hateful Eight this Christmas.
Yes.
I want to put that in my top 10, but
Yes, that pissed me off.
to see that shit.
Yeah, that real pissed me off, yeah. When Chirac coming out?
I want to see Chirac so bad. Is it a theatrical release? Because I saw I think Amazon was.
Yeah, so I had to wait for that. I think it's that. But I heard I heard some good hype because I saw a couple reviews of it already. It's some people saying it's Spike Lee's midlife crisis.
I wouldn't see that as a Spike Lee fan. I call it a return to form. Like the trailer for itself, it has that sort of provocative outrageousness that he had with his earlier films like School Days, Jungle Fever, and of course Do the Right Thing. It has that sort of like, he tries different things out. He has that sort of breaking the fourth wall, the characters being aware that they're in a film, but also they're tackling these really provocative, rather controversial issues. And, just seeing that trailer and just seeing that it's from Spike Lee, I just want to see that shit, Yeah.
Yeah, looking good. So we have some stuff coming up. What else? Then we more likely going to have a special guest star for our Star Wars review.
Of course. And let's let you guys know one time that it will be pretty long. Hopefully about 2 hours or more. But we're gonna just we just want to talk everything about Star Wars. The original trilogy, what made it work, what makes it work today, what makes it stand out today. Talk about the prequels, what stood out, what didn't stand out. Why they didn't work. Stuff like that. Now, and then of course talk about the seventh one and
And our special guest star.
Yeah.
Who do you think? You want to introduce special guest star before he come through? If he come through at all.
No, I don't know. Well, we'll have to see when the time comes. I will have to organize something, and but we will have a special guest. It's not going to be the two of us rambling on for 3 hours or so about Star Wars. We're going to have a guest.
Yeah, so basically, this will be our season finale kind of episode at the end of the year.
I was actually thinking it was the. All right, you're not a Game of Thrones fan, so this will be like the episode 9. The big climatic episode, the one that everybody going to talk about, and then you have the last episode, which kind of wraps everything up. And that wrapping up episode, of course, will be like our best of the year, best movies of the year. In my case, best music, best hip hop albums and stuff, and of course the worst. Well, not worst hip hop albums. I wouldn't really talk bad about any rapper, but worst movies definitely of the year. And we have a few in mind. I still have some shitty movies I have to watch and all too. Yeah, I'm a sucker for punishment. So, yeah.
We had to talk about that movie that we went to your birthday for.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to talk about that nonsense. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, what else we had to talk about, Matthew?
All right, so I think we should jump into the TV show reviews and then we'll.
Right. Yeah. So we talk about Jack Jones. I saw a little show called Man in the High Castle. It's based off of a very, very famous novel by Philip K. Dick. I really, really enjoyed the novel. Big fan of the novel. I'm a big fan of Philip K. Dick in general. He is the writer of a famous story called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is adapted to one of the greatest science fictions by Ridley Scott when Ridley Scott was on his apex game, Blade Runner. So Philip K. Dick is a very, very good. I enjoy his authorship. I love his style of writing and thinking, especially for a person in that time. You could tell he do a little bit of drugs, a little bit. But what Man in the High Castle is about, it's basically an alternate history story. But basically, what happens if the Nazis were to win World War II? They won World War II, and we get to see a period during. Not now so much. I think it's the 60s again still. So not that much time passed. Hitler's still alive. It's basically the time when the book was written. And then what they do, they tell the story of basically a resistance. But the interesting thing is that the resistance has a piece of literature, and this is a big change from the book to the current series. It's a piece of literature, but in this case, it's a film apparently talking about our world where the Nazis lost. And basically, it forms a resistance off of this. Now, what made the book work is this kind of recursive fiction, and so the idea of a fiction within a fiction, talking about both realities. Right. And awesome. What made it work too is the idea of what it is that people could, because you're not sure if it's a hoax now, throughout the entire period, if the guy just made it up. Right. Now, this is where the TV show kind of made a flop, and I would think it could work, but I didn't think it worked so well.
Flop in the sense that
because what happens is that they change the book to a film reel. So it's as if somebody shot a film reel of all the footage, news footage from our World War II history.
Right.
So that makes things a little trickier, because it's like, wait, if it's a film reel, how you could hoax that? It's kind of harder to hoax. So, but with literature, you could write any bullshit.
Yeah,
anyway.
But this.
Anyway.
I haven't seen the film, but
yeah.
I'm just thinking that, like in the context of the show itself, is it that they assume that some director just shot this film, as some propaganda piece or something, or what? But
that's the thing. The way how it looks as if it's very real now. How we could pull off such a big stage play? Because they show New York when the famous story, the famous picture of the sailor kissing the girl, famous picture in our history. Right? They see that in their alternate reality. So it's like how they pull this off. So it's those logistics things that kind of make me throw off the film. Right. But the movie work. It's very well made in terms of the world building. So they have this really cool scene in episode 2, not a spoiler. Cool little scene where the guy talking to a cop, and you start seeing ash rain down from the sky, like ash now, like normal, like snowing. And he asks the cop, "Hey, what's going on? Where is ash coming from?" He's like, "What? Something burning?" He's like, "Oh, it's the hospital. It's Tuesday. they're burning some retarded guy maybe. I like, oh shit, that like there's little simple things like it really does a good job of that building that world. It really gets a sense of how things would be. It's horrible. It's nightmarishly bad. They make it work in the sense of a peace treaty, so it's not too simple like, well, the Nazis control everything. Well, no. Japan controls a good chunk of the United States. They have a middle of the United States that they can't get into, and the only reason it's a kind of demilitarized zone where it have the handful of poor people and black people still left, and it have a few gay people still left, and that stuff now. Because they have this woman talking. They had a scene where the woman was talking about that. She's like, oh, well, the Negroes and this guy was wrong religion, but they're still alive somehow. And those colored people are like, wow. But they make it work. You really get a sense of the world building. It's impeccably shot.
Not surprised.
Yeah, no, it looks beautiful. I can't go wrong with that. And yeah, for the most part, it really works. I totally recommend this. Earlier this year, they showed the first 2 episodes. And then they shot everything else and released it later. Right. So I saw that months ago, the first 2 episodes, but everything came out the other day, roughly the same time as Jessica Jones. It's on Amazon.
But the genre of it, what is it? Is a sci-fi?
Yeah, it's alternate sci-fi history, and it's just drama. It's just like a political drama. You're basically watching a resistance fight against.
Right. So there's action, there's suspense, there's thrills, shocks.
Yeah, they do a good job at it. It's ultimately because I'll admit my bias coming in. Ultimately, if I were to be truly objective about it, it's not as good as it. And ultimately, if I were to give it an objective score without me being a sci-fi fan, I give it like a 7 out of 10. Still very watchable, good characters, good characterization. But as a Philip K. fan, and just to finally see this damn story come out in real life, for me, 9 out of 10. Like I just totally engrossed in this, and I just love the book. Yeah. And I just love where they went with it. I finally watched out the finale, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I guess it'll kind of make you forget the fact that Minority Report was a TV show, that got cancelled.
Yeah, no, yeah. The sad part is that all the big network shows, especially the ones that are trying to be too serious, not working at all, and they need to find themselves on Netflix and Amazon now. I think we're really getting some good stuff on Netflix and Amazon. And yeah, I'm really glad the Man in the High Castle exists. Like, holy shit. Like, and it came out, it's excellent, really well done. And it really raised the bar of good television. Right, for me, we had to talk about stuff like, well, we were supposed to talk about Leftovers, but I didn't catch up with it. That show's very good.
Right, that's still going on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else TV shows do you have to talk about?
TV shows that currently going on.
Yeah. Walking Dead?
Well, Walking Dead,
yeah.
Season finale is actually the...
Right. Right, well, the big news for Walking Dead for me was... no, it's who gonna be Negan in Walking Dead, and they got the perfect fan choice. Right, so coming back to clap. Yeah, we want to talk about?
Yeah, Walking Dead.
Yeah, alright, so you're cut from Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That is the one I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a slight little hiccup here, so we'll just continue from here.
Yeah.
Right.
Say your name again?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Right.
Right, so yeah, so he's a pretty good actor. He's a perfect choice for it. He played comedian. He's
in the magnificent film Watchmen.
Yeah, it's a movie we defend.
Greatest movie
both of us defend it.
2009.
Yeah, I defend it. It's a movie I defend. Anyway, the thing is, Negan in the comic is super disturbing. Big spoiler if I say who he's related to and why he's super disturbing and what made him super disturbing in the beginning of it. Because it's going on right now amongst the fans of the TV show who never read the comic.
Like me.
Yeah, what's going on with respect to the character. And I kind of wanted him to do something like this. And I wanted this character to get his own episode and then meet Negan's character. Because that would be super dark and sad. But whatever. So what else? We have this, and then we have you have to talk about.
Yeah, Master of None. Alright, so Master of None is the latest TV show to come out of Netflix.
Yeah.
It was created by Aziz Ansari and another guy called Alan Yang, who I've never heard of before, but he actually has his own production company. You see his logo, the logo of the company at the very end of the of every episode.
Yeah.
There's 10 episodes in total, and it's centered around a 32-year-old comedian named Dev, played by Aziz.
Right.
So it's more like a kind of semi-autobiographical look at his life, his career. Him trying to come up in the world of acting in Hollywood and whatnot.
Right.
So how it starts up is that he didn't really like jump into the world of acting by choice. He just appeared in a Go-Gut commercial.
Right, I was like,
And,
Google,
yeah.
that was a thing back
Yeah, that was a thing back in the 90s, I think.
90s, 2000s.
Yeah, Ask Your Parents Kids,
Yeah.
right? So
Ask
he
your
got,
older brother.
Yeah, he got popular over that.
Yeah.
He starred in a few more commercials, and then he really started. He got bit by the acting bug,
Right.
and he just started try to get acting gigs, to work on TV shows and of course movies. And actually, his agent is played by Danielle Brooks,
Okay.
who plays Tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Orange is the New Black.
Right.
She's probably like my favorite character in the whole show
Okay.
for a lot of reasons. Yeah. So and she only appears in like one episode, and she steals it in that one episode
Yeah.
though, because she's trying to get this role for Dev, but the issue is that the roles that he keeps getting sort of because he's a minority.
Yeah.
They're always picking
Short.
these roles for these kind of minor roles that
Short personal
play
cover.
on his ethnicity. So
Yeah.
like, oh, we need an Indian cab driver, we need an Indian scientist or whatever.
Right.
And in the case of the scientist now, that's has to do with a film that he actually got through with a few auditions that you see in the early episodes of the film.
Right.
So he got through with a sort of sci-fi, sort of zombie horror film called The Sickening. So
Yeah.
think of it like World War Z, but just a
Yeah.
rather low budget, sort of unfocused version of it.
Right.
And he's playing an Indian scientist, and like in the first episode, he's wondering like, why do I have to play the scientist? Why can't I play somebody else in a higher position?
Right.
Why am I always like the smart guy? And that. And he also has another Indian American friend who deliberates these same situations as well too, and they're trying to get gigs as well too. But it's not just about acting or getting into acting. It's really, in a nutshell, about life, about
Right.
just living life.
Does it
So-
focus too much on the whole Indian American experience?
The-
In terms of Hollywood, because I remember
Yeah.
they had a show, what was that show about? Boy? There was a show like on NBC, sitcom show about this white guy who's go to India to do like a call center kind of thing.
That was really that was a no. I just kind of wondered. I just can't believe that's actually like an idea for a show. That
Yeah, it was this guy, this white guy goes to do the call center. There's a bunch of dumb Indian stereotypes in the show, and
it was cancelled, right?
it was cancelled. It was terrible. But I was in my head. I was like,
Yeah.
what other Indian American could I get through other than Mindy Kaling?
Yeah.
All right, other than her, I can't see anybody else, getting through with something like that. And I thought does he focus too much on that, or
No. He doesn't. Well, maybe there's a couple episodes that kind of go into it, but it doesn't spend too much time like arguing about why Indian Americans why it's so hard for them to get serious roles, and why they're always playing like the minor roles, or
Yeah.
why they're always playing like these
Yeah.
sort of stupid comedic.
Yeah, the show is
characters.
outsourced. And now just look it up.
Outsourced,
Outsourced,
okay.
yeah. That show was like ridiculous. It was terrible. And I was like, wow, this is the best that Indian Americans could get, right? Now, at the time, and still is the case, NBC was the worst of the networks. Still is, in my opinion. Because the best, in my opinion, this is how bad.
This
is how bad.
Parks and Recreation came out of NBC though.
No, but the community did as well.
Yeah.
No, but Parks and Rec never got a chance to like do some really good shows. I mean, and the only reason I'd say Parks and Rec worked is the same reason they show with Tina Fey worked.
30 Rock.
30 Rock,
Yeah.
because it's just they have the connections and they just have the pull to just make sure they get a good show from the network.
Mhm.
This is Tina Fey as well as Amy Poehler in the case of today. That's the only reason. I don't think that anybody who want an idea and to come in the NBC, one of the reasons why NBC is kind of hated now is because of that. The
Okay.
best stuff out of NBC other than Parks and Rec maybe is probably SNL.
Yeah.
That's really-
and who watches SNL?
Hardly anybody's watching SNL.
No, you know.
I mean, I just still give it a chance and I kind of like it, but holy crap.
Yeah.
And outsource is just perfectly emblematic of that. And so I don't know so does he focuses on himself, but he doesn't really get into that Indian American actor experience too much.
No. But it's part of an overall story, and
Yeah.
like I say, it's really just about life, living. Sorry, not life living. Just living in New York. Is set in New York.
Yeah.
So this is guy whose parents were immigrants, and he came to America, seeking the American dream. And there's a few episodes that kind of touch on that, like them coming to the States, and yes, he also has an Asian friend. And
Yeah,
there's a fantastic episode that shows
Western
both of their
Asian.
parents coming to the States,
Right.
you know, with dreams. Well, it's not so much the American dream, but just them trying to find a job, they're trying to find a better
Yeah.
life, and then they gave birth to their sons, and you know, their sons are all about, you know, going on Google and searching where to find the best taco stand in New York, you know.
Mhm.
So that sort of life compared to the life that they lived when
Yeah.
they, you know, even before they came to the States, you know.
Okay.
I know, yeah, and also too, Aziz's real life parents
Yeah.
play Dev's parents in the film.
Oh, really?
the
Okay.
series as well too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they play it very well. At times, like the first time you see Aziz's mother, and she really has this really not that strong Indian accent, but you could tell that, you know, it still kind of lingers on to, you know, her Tamil background.
Right.
But it still works. It sort of grew on me, and you see when you father to it, kind of like, okay, kind of sounded a bit like they were reading off their lines, but or you could tell that they're not real actors or they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
professional actors,
Right.
but it works in the context of I'm an actor, these are my parents, and these are my parents just being real with me, you know.
Yeah.
But there's this running arc more or less with Aziz's girlfriend,
Yeah.
Rachel. I forgot the actress's name. He met her at a party one night, and then they sort of meet back up in a few more episodes, and then he starts this serious relationship with her. And then now it's like him trying to really try to figure out his place in life. Just really try to figure out, okay, is this about my career, or how far do I go with my career, or do I just put all that aside now for this one person that I met in a party like months ago, you know? And for me, what I really liked about it, what I really enjoyed about the film, what I keep saying film, series, is how real it feels.
Yeah.
From the setting to the characters to the dialogue, it's very, very well written. Most of the episodes were written by Aziz
Yeah.
and Alan Yang, and it shows. It's not like a joke every minute, but just the dialogue and the kind of issues that they talk about are real. You could like imagine yourself in that coffee shop or in that club or on that couch, listening to these people talking about just, you know, certain issues and you know, going on today, you know. And it's done very well. It has witty dialogue, you know, the back and forth between the characters as well, and the supporting characters. You know, they pull off fantastic roles as well too.
Yeah.
And even some guest appearances as well too. Busta Rhymes makes an appearance.
All right.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes of all people.
They have to make an R. Kelly appearance. Oh gosh.
No, unfortunately,
They
no,
have
no,
to
no.
do that, man.
There was a very clever appearance. Right, there's this one episode about Dev, but this is before Rachel comes back. It is like there's a moment where she's there and then her ex comes back, so she's out of the picture. So he finds this other girl who's played by Claire Danes,
Okay.
who stars in Homeland,
Yeah.
probably Showtime's most popular show right now because, you know, Dexter ended. Let's not talk about the end of Dexter. But
Yeah,
anyway.
that's
Right.
slightly retarded, kind of retarded, very retarded.
So he's dating her and they're sleeping and stuff, and then he learns that she's actually married, but she doesn't care. Because you know, she keeps saying that her husband is cheating on her.
Yeah.
And the husband actually is played by Noah Emmerich, who is one of the stars of The Americans.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
FX.
Right, yeah, right. The guys are criminally underrated show.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very,
they give it a
very,
chance.
very fantastic
I have to
TV
watch
show.
season 3.
Yeah. So just the fact that these two actors who play spies more or less,
Right, okay.
or are involved in
Right.
TV shows about espionage, are playing husband and wife, and
Right.
one person doesn't know that the other person is cheating on each other.
Yeah, so they're right. So they're not right. A little meta wink right.
Yeah. But for me, what really stood out for me is just the heart of it. There's a lot of heart into it. Like you don't go into this expecting to be laughing like every minute.
Yeah.
But you're gonna fall for these characters, you know, more or less.
Okay.
You're gonna feel for Aziz's character, you know, when he succeeds and when he fails, you know, because he's a very optimistic character, you know.
Right.
If he doesn't get through it someday, he just kind of puts it away. He's like, all right, well, that didn't happen, whatever. Let me move on. Let me do something else, you know. And you really feel his optimism, you know, and you also feel his pain too, you know, when he doesn't get that gig he always wanted, or he doesn't get that girl he always wanted, you know, or when things don't work out. And that's what I like about it. It's just how real it feels. It's just life, you know, and that life itself doesn't move the way you expect it to be. There's always going to be twists and turns. There's always going to be ups and downs. And this series here really embodies that, you know, just the ups and downs of life. But overall, the overall message that I picked up from it is just just keep living, just keep doing what you love, just try new things, experience new things, just live your life, regardless of if you become great or if you become less than great or whatever. Just take that chance,
Yeah.
And so for me, I give it a strong 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh wow, nice.
It's 10 episodes long, each a half hour long apart.
Yeah.
So you could literally binge that out in probably 4 to 5 hours, and you will enjoy it.
Okay.
Oh yes, and one more thing, it has a fantastic soundtrack.
Okay.
A lot of mixture of like 90s music, 80s, some indie rock, some hip hop classics, and it's just how they mix it into the series as well.
Right.
Too. Some songs you probably haven't heard of like in ages. Like I don't know if you remember Mark Morrison's Return to Mac.
Yeah.
They play that in this one scene where Dev meets Rachel again. And it's like, oh, this is my favorite song. It's like, this is like a criminally underrated song. And I agree. Yeah. It is a very criminally underrated song, and he's dancing to it.
Right.
Oh, and it's also beautifully shot as well too. Well shot, well lit, well directed as well too. Like I said, Aziz did most of the directing in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not the biggest fan of Aziz as well too.
Yeah.
But
I'm I'll admit I'm more of a Louis C.K. fan, and that show.
Louis C.K. Yes.
Yeah, and right. He again, his show Louis is very, very similar to his life, how life is, but it's more for an older person.
Right.
Well, so I get a feeling that and I kind of pieced that together. I was like, all right, so this show might be like it's Louis for millennials.
Just think of it like I don't want to call it a dramedy, because then dramedy just think
that's thing.
Depression.
Yeah, same thing with Louis.
Yeah.
Louis does a great job of how to deal with his life and how old he is. You have to deal with children. It's his life and him as a comedian in New York.
Yeah, and they also touch on children as well. So the very first episode is all about having kids and being in your 30s, and all my friends are getting married and having kids, which is something I could personally relate to.
Yeah.
It's like do I just find this one chick and get knocked up and have kids just because I wanted, I'm not getting any younger, so do I just jump on that bandwagon, so all these things that anybody regardless of age could kind of sit down and relate to. So highly recommend that show. Check it out as soon as you can.
Lovely.
One of the best for this year.
All right, that was an excellent review by Matthew. We run through Master of None. As I said, I expect it to be, because I'm a big fan of Louis.
Yeah.
And I love Louis. Louis is on 5 seasons.
I need to watch Louis.
And it gets better. It's one of those shows that got better for me over time. Okay, so last thing we have to deal with now is
Hunger Games.
Review of Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2.
Yeah.
So, the thing on Mockingjay, I like this one. I had fun with it, for the most part. Didn't love it. And I basically I'd start to say that I have to copy paste my review for the first one, which is,
what do you think about the first Mockingjay?
Yeah, no, right. So the first Mockingjay, Part 1.
That's what I meant. The first Mockingjay or the first
Hunger Games movie.
All right.
First Hunger Games movie, since whenever it came. When did it came out?
2012.
Right. My
2012.
Yeah,
because every year was a new Hunger Games movie.
My thing with Hunger Games is that it was never particularly interesting. It was kind of derivative, pretty bland in terms of design and whatnot. But I was like, well, it's a YA novel, so I kind of judge it slightly less harsh, especially since we were coming off, the stupid vampire werewolf. Twilight stuff.
It was like the opposite of the antithesis, more or less, of
exactly.
Twilight.
So my thing was that, well, Twilight, when I saw that Twilight was popular, I was like, what kids this generation like? That spells bodes, horrible future.
That whole shit about this one chick who can't decide, do
I
love
like,
this vampire,
really
do I love this werewolf? I don't know.
And it spelled bad for the future for me. I was like, wow, the future is kind of bleak. But then I saw Hunger Games and I was like, this, again, it's not truly original. I don't expect it to be, but it's not for me. And I'd imagine if you were like 14 or 15 years old, it'll be pretty impressive, pretty damn cool. The concepts they talk about, the ideas they talk about. And they keep doing it throughout the series. And for me, my favorite of the entire franchise is the second film.
Yeah, Catching Fire.
Catching Fire
still my favorite.
Still very well done.
Yeah.
And what makes it work is the whole, mixing media and brutality. And the whole propaganda aspects of it. The brutality and the fighting, the wars and all of that stuff, that is like the beginning of the fight. That is nothing. The real aspect is how people see the fight. And people
That's true.
see, and they do a really good job of that whole propaganda war aspect and these ideological battles. And another thing they do really well, I like, is that, well, nobody's innocent in this whole thing. The rebels are complete douchebags and have no problem, doing the most unscrupulous tactics in warfare.
Exactly.
Some nasty shit they keep
Yeah, it's
doing
like
right through.
you attack me, I am going to attack you, I'm going to kill
Yeah,
you.
they make
all
that
it is.
stuff. They make that stuff real dark, Judd, and they do a good job with it. But again, my big problem is that everything too derivative. Like they have this whole sequence in a sewer sequence.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this Blade 2 though.
Yeah, and aliens to accept
Yeah,
that
you get that
like
same feeling to it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. But then whatever. If I was like 13 to 17 years old, I'll have to say this is perfect. Next to perfect film in that.
So,
It does a good job with that.
Yeah.
And I didn't read the books.
You know what I mean?
But
Well, started the first one.
I
and
heard
I just said,
some people say that the big thing of this I find for me was that it felt a little bit rushed. The editing was a little off, and I hated how they keep jumping in time in terms of editing. They did that very poorly.
right.
So they did these really like quick jumps to shots. I was like, wait, which character is this? I'm like, they just jump out. It's the same character, but it's a day later or a few hours later. I was like,
They did that in the first Mockingjay.
yeah, it was a little
Yeah.
obnoxious.
They
Yeah,
did.
I find it was a little obnoxious, the editing. They could have paced that a little better. The only
Actually,
reason
come
you
to think of
know,
it, they do it. They've done it throughout the whole series.
But it was-
well,
no,
especially
okay.
in, like Catching Fire.
so the big problem with the first film was the camera work. I don't think the editing was that bad, but
Yeah,
the
but
camera
the
work
camera work, that
was
shaky
notably bad,
camera,
right?
yes,
Yeah, there was
yes,
there's no, you can make sense of heads or tails of a lot of the action. The second film I thought was next to perfect. It was at least as far as this material goes.
Yeah, although just to stop you there, I think the shaky cam thing was like just this futile attempt to make things really look really extreme, even though
Right.
like, yes,
What
it's
happened?
PG-13, but
Right,
you
that's what they
can't
had
show
to.
all the violence. So
Yeah.
if I shake the camera like this, you wouldn't see
It'd look as if,
a
yeah.
little kid collect an axe to the head. So
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, that was the purpose of it, and it didn't work. Sorry.
Yeah, it didn't.
But what it should have. Yeah, I don't know. But then, well, we have to talk about like all the things the Hunger Games kind of rip off in a sense. So it has this, Aldous Huxley, Brave New World kind of approach to things. And then they do the whole George Orwell 1984 thing. That's the two most obvious stuff. But then they do a modern context.
And then they also take like from Roman films like Spartacus
Yeah.
and Gladiator, that even the architecture of that world
Right.
is Roman. Even the characters' names are
Yeah.
Coronidus
Yeah.
or Antonius.
Yeah. They do all of that. That's good. I'll say the guy who plays President Snow does his
Or Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland,
He
fantastic,
plays
yeah.
it well.
Very, very
he plays
good.
brilliantly.
Yeah,
He's that guy that you love to hate.
Yeah, but they had a lot of great
Shit.
character actors in this. They have what's his boy, Mashali Ali. He's the guy.
Yeah, he's from House of Cards. Great
Right, I
show.
know him from the 4400.
Oh, he was in that.
Yes, in that. Yeah, I remember him in that.
Alright.
They have, I think it's Michelle Forbes. She played Ensign Rowe, and she was one of the generals in Battlestar Galactica as well.
Okay.
She was in this. She's the one who's first attacked by the creatures in the sewer.
Okay.
She was the second in command after Mashali
Right.
Ali's character. Gosh, Philip Seymour Hoffman comes
Yeah.
back. Gets it, but this is his posthumous role.
Yeah, and like I actually read up before this review here that when the first and second Mockingjay films were filmed like roughly before he died. Now. So
Yeah.
they
So they got
filmed,
almost everything they
yeah,
wanted.
they got almost everything. There was just
Yeah.
a few stuff that needed to be done, but
Right.
they just
Yeah, they got
couldn't do it
mostly
because
right.
he died.
From what I understand, yeah, they got mostly. So this posthumous release, I mean, even though he's a fantastic actor, I don't think this film did not do him injustice. It was alright. He was good.
Yeah,
in it.
he was.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
and
his
it's
character.
it's like the
serviceable,
movie.
yeah.
The movie was a total mess. But it's just like with Orson Welles and Transformers. It's his last movie, but it's Transformers.
Oh, God.
So it's the same feeling.
Yeah.
Same feeling. Like that was his last role. It get out, so yeah, a little
Raul
bit.
Julian Street Fighter. Come on.
Oh yeah, right. Same thing. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
like no, but Street Fighter was terrible.
Yeah.
While Transformers
Can't be
was terrible. Yeah. So Roger, it was a total spit in the face in my opinion. But with this movie, it wasn't so bad. And it was a fine ending to his career. I don't think he'll ever. I think he has a couple more little movies. Anything else?
Yeah, none come to mind.
Yeah, I don't think.
No
I think this is his
titles
last
come to mind.
movie, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I'd probably just check IMDb quick IMDb run to find him. But no, Philip Seymour Hoffman is an actor who, in my opinion, is simply brilliant. It's a fantastic, one of my favorite. I mean, he has a bunch of roles I like. My favorite recent role is when he was his character in The Master.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I need to watch him.
Very, very good movie. Love him in that. He was the Bookie Nights. He was in a lot of. Just a really good actor.
How
And
about
well,
Capote?
Capote was that was
Yeah.
great. No, but
Won the Oscar for that.
my favorite of his was his role in Charlie Kaufman's film Synecdoche, New York.
Oh yeah.
Love
When
that
you
movie.
mentioned that, I need to,
Fantastic
I need to watch
movie,
that. Yeah.
So so he died. Who played President Coin?
Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore, right? Good
Yeah,
actress.
she's always
Right, good in this.
Fantastic.
They made it look where she was pretty bad and nasty, and when she gets in charge, she would be just as bad.
Yeah.
Just as bad as President Snow. So they did a good job with that.
What about Jennifer Lawrence? So you're not mentioning the Woman of the Hour.
Does she did mention? Because she was really nowhereian for me in this. She was just the
No what?
star. Nowhereian, as in just things happening to her. She wasn't particularly impressive. They did this kind of Lord of the Rings thing in the ending where she only had one emotion moment. Is when she saw the ending with the cat.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else was like, well, this happened to me, and then this happened to me, and then this
Yeah, I'll
happened
just be all silent.
Yeah. I
smile.
got tired of that shit.
Yeah.
The guy who was the actor who plays Peter Malak.
Josh
Hutcherson.
Hutcherson.
You're right.
Hutcherson.
He's very improved.
Yes, he
actor.
has, he
Very,
has.
very good. I think he was very, very good in
From
this.
Catching Fire to now.
Yeah.
is-
He for me, he kind of grew into his body because he always looked this kind of. He had a strange look to me. His head was a little too big, I thought, or his jaw was too big. But he finally grew. He looked pretty badass, and he actually looked badass in this. Especially that first sequence when he was strapped to the bed and everything.
Right.
Oh yeah, this was cool though.
Yeah. And then
This
we
guy,
have Liam.
right, Liam Hemsworth,
Hemsworth.
tall little brother.
Red the Tour.
Yeah, right, that's all right. He was okay in this, not bad. They did some good stuff, like they did with him. Like he had no experience of how capital life is. So when he went there and they had to hold up in the night in this room, and he was eating like chocolate or something like that, and he said, "If I lived like this, I would believe in anything."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "That's a really damn good line, though." There's little simple things, and you can tell, like again with the editing, you can tell they rush a lot of stuff, like how characters died and how this character survived and whatnot.
I'll talk about the editing. Well, when you
And
get to
I actually give this a pretty good score. I'll give this, a high movie town, mid movie town. Totally, worth your money in movie town, not IMAX. Not IMAX, not your best.
No.
Not your best. But I'll probably change, given the editing and whatnot, I'll probably give it a mid to low movie town, if
Right.
anything. It worth my time. I didn't feel like my time was wasted.
Right.
I still enjoyed it. They had some cool, the whole sequence with all the traps, where they had to get through the mines and the pods and all that stuff. That was badass.
That was.
That was badass. But they could have done. You get a feeling it was still a very amateur film. It felt amateurishly done in many ways. Again, you notice this with the editing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of my point of view on the matter. I just saw it last night, so.
All right. So my take on the Mockingjay Part 2. All right. So for me, I agree nearly entirely with what Ricardo said. I enjoyed it as well too, though not as much as I wanted to. Like, it could have been, God forbid, for me, forgive me for saying this. It could have been like the return of the king of the
They kind of
series.
in many ways they dropped the ball, and you can tell the difference between a good director and a bad director. Say what you want about Peter Jackson. The man knows how to entertain. Say what you want about Peter
I
Jackson.
don't hate Peter Jackson at all. I love his movies.
Say what you want about the man. Yeah,
I enjoyed the last Hobbit movie, even though it was underwhelming. I enjoyed it.
It was a little
entertaining
underwhelming.
as well.
But it was because, and was it because the only reason I kind of don't like those movies because how damn self-indulgent they are. That's the only reason I don't like those movies.
Oh, you
so
mean
much.
what? Look at
Yeah, no, it was
special
ridiculous.
effects.
And these movies did not be. It didn't need 3 movies. It could have been
No.
one. movie. And it could have been it could have been a very tightly packed.
Argue about that. Yeah,
Anyway,
it didn't.
but the point is, say what you want about Peter Jackson, the man is very entertaining. And this, you could tell a good cinematic eye. You needed a good, strong director to, you didn't get out of this one.
No.
That's where they dropped the ball in. Just the choice of shots, some weak choices. Just the choice of camera work and just you could tell not really strong enough in terms of telling the story well enough.
True. I guess so. I like. It had some cool white shots.
Yeah.
They had the all too familiar shot of Katniss Everdeen. That's Jennifer Lawrence's character. Walking in the middle of the frame in the white shot, and she's all in silhouette and she's walking straight.
Right.
They do that a lot, and they do it in one key scene
No, the only couple shots I liked is when she was like, she just walking and there's these perfect symmetry shots ever shot in.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of perfect symmetry shots in the Capitol. They had a couple other shots in like houses, little things like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that kind of like. But for the most part, I didn't get into it as much as it.
Yeah. So for me, right, so my take on the whole thing with Mockingjay, just in general, I felt it really could have been one film. Like I was watching part 2 good.
Yeah.
I was really thinking about it like, alright, these scenes here, like I'm watching the story unfold and everything, but like every once in a while they will have some key thing happen, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's action or something dramatic. And there's lots of like really heart-wrenching drama in this film.
Yeah.
There are moments where the story literally like stops, and then we have these moments where the characters talk, and you're thinking it's all exposition, you think it's all character development. It's really just like, all right, we just pass the time until this next thing happens, and then we just have to talk and talk and talk and talk.
It's the same
It just
bullshit.
drags the
It's the
film
same.
along.
No, it's the same bullshit with the last Harry Potter movie.
Yes,
Same
yes,
bullshit.
I can argue with that as
Same
well too.
bullshit.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
They just stretch it for no good reason, just to make more money. That's the only good reason, quote unquote.
Right, but here's the argument I have with Harry Potter. You have, alright, so Hunger Games is 3 books, right?
Yeah.
Harry Potter, I believe, is 7 books in total,
Yeah.
right? And the 7th book, they split into 2
Right.
films.
So these movies, yeah.
So you have, I wouldn't say the first 6 films were like a build up to the last one,
Right.
but you know so much about, you see the characters themselves develop over time. You see them grow literally in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
So by the time the last show comes, it's like, well, yeah, because in a way, it's kind of like how Fast and Furious was.
Yeah, the investment.
Yeah, like you see these characters grow and things. So when you reach the last one, it's like, well, yeah, everything on the line here, no.
Yeah.
And in this film, they really try to set that up, but the problem is that some of the characters you only saw like in Catching Fire, the second film, and then they brought them into Mockingjay. You showed them just there for a little while. There was Peter who was kidnapped by the Capitol,
Yeah.
and then in the end of Mockingjay Part 1, they rescued him and brought him back, and then they realized he was brainwashed, and then now
Yeah.
there's this whole thing in Part 2 where he's trying to remember who Katniss was and why he was fighting against the Capitol, all that other shit,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is just that you don't really get that much time with the characters, and that's just because of the books themselves or the films themselves. Remember, there's only 2 films that you have before you reach to this big climax, which is ultimately Mockingjay.
Right.
But what they did, as in the studios did, they just split the film in 2 because, the excuse is that, well, this is such a very important book, so we don't want to take anything out, so we have to keep as much as possible.
Yeah.
But for me, I know in this day and age, I know a lot of young adults really wouldn't want to sit down and watch a 3-hour film,
Right.
but I think this film could have been a 3-hour film.
Yeah.
It could have, like the whole Mockingjay thing in general should have been 3 hours. And then when you have the home media release, bring it out on Blu-ray, DVD, you have this director's cut.
Right.
And it's like the 4 hours and change that, if you put the 2
In one,
Mockingjay
yeah.
parts together would have been. And people would have bought that shit. People would have loved it even more,
No, but for me with Harry Potter, it definitely should have been one movie. I love the 7th film, the part 1 of The Deathly Hallows,
And you didn't enjoy part 2.
and I didn't enjoy part 2. And
Why? Because it was just too much action. It was just
No,
too
it
much
didn't pace at all. Like it didn't work. So because the 7 part 1 was good. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa,
I like
this was
the leading
intense.
up, the
Yeah, this was
tension.
intense. Like when
Tension leading
when
up
it,
to
when
that
they started
point.
to run from Voldemort, it's like, yeah, you really get the sense, and it's how it was shot and how they made it really dark and serious.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
this-
yes, and even the end of part 1, technically,
Right.
this was way better than the end.
yeah,
of
I was like, so
Mockingjay
my
Part 1.
attitude was like, we should have just get a longer movie, and even if the second half was a setter, like build up to action, at least you could have gotten a build up of action instead of waiting months and not caring, because you just jump into it.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was my whole thing with that. And my attitude was like, this same thing you had feeling with this film. I remember I watched Mockingjay Part 1.
Yeah, me too. I watched it
And I was like,
before this one.
okay, this is nowhere near as intense, but Part 2 should come and do a good job with this. And you
Yeah.
should just put this as one movie.
Yeah, I didn't hate Mockingjay Part 1. A lot of people didn't like it because it was slow and it was boring,
Yeah.
I think, but I understood what he was trying to do, but really, in reality, if you were to put the 2 together, you just cut out all the the slow scenes of exposition and stuff then are just talking, and this
Yeah.
stuff.
But
It would have been it would have been tight. It would have been more a really fitting conclusion. Then.
Yeah. No, they make the politics work for the most part. The idea of just Katniss just having a serious problem with the attitude.
Yeah.
And all of that build up. That worked for the most part. But again, you could have put this in one movie.
Yeah.
You can
I
already put
find
this
like
in-
if you just saw straight from Catching Fire, the way how Catching Fire ended, and then you see the full conclusion of Mockingjay, it would have made the ending work a lot more. But now it's like, okay, well we saw part one, all right. 1 year later we see the second one here. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I saw it. And
Yeah, there's a whole year.
that gripped me.
Yeah, and there's a whole year. That's the problem with it.
Yeah, but there's like just like, oh, okay, well it's done now. All right.
Yeah, no, there's a little too much time. That's my problem now. Like, just the wait between this.
Yeah,
With
I
Harry
mean,
Potter,
not a Harry Potter where it was
through a few months.
one book, one film a year, like,
Right.
and then 7 years later, now you have.
And the Harry
now
Potter
it's part
franchise,
two.
because the Harry Potter franchise for me, like they got better and then they got worse for a while. And then,
I actually, yeah, like Goblet of Fire is still like my favorite.
right, yeah, no,
Then
right.
Afterwards, no, I think Half-Blood Prince came after.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, I didn't like it. That was.
And then the one after that, there's 6 books also shown by.
Not Order of the Phoenix.
No, right, sorry, right. Half-Blood Prince was I think this one after that.
Right.
Order of the Phoenix was the 5th one. Oh well, yeah.
We're not Harry Potter
Yeah, we
fans,
embarrassing
folks.
myself.
Well, yeah, book fans, right?
Yeah.
So, please forgive us.
Yeah, no, but no. For me, the first and second films it was for its audience, but it was good.
Yeah.
Then the third, I really enjoyed the third film. I remember really enjoyed, and then I really liked the fourth film, but I didn't like it as much as the third film.
Right.
And then the fifth film, this was with, and I was like, yeah, this wasn't so good though.
Mm-hmm.
Because why I was underwhelmed by it, because this was the one where Dumbledore and Snape, not Snape, Voldemort had a fight.
Yeah.
A big fight, and it didn't work. It was like, oh, this is boring though. I was bored.
Yeah.
And they killed Gary Oldman's character. I was like, boring. Then the sixth film, this was, I think, Half-Blood Prince. Right, fifth film was Order of the Phoenix. Sixth film was Half-Blood Prince.
Right.
They supposed to kill Dumbledore. Yeah, pretty boring and lame. Like how they did that.
And then happens like, oh,
They didn't make a big deal out
shit,
it.
dead.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
casual, Jared. And I was
Yeah,
like,
it was casual, it was
too
casual.
casual. They need to build that up, and I really was not in the mood for that direction. So, and then with the seventh film, I was like, but this was really good though. Really enjoyed that seventh film, made it work. So I don't know.
Yeah, but just get back to my take on the film, right? So, performances were great.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence, like the standout character, of course, because I mean she holds the show on her own.
Right.
She acts very well.
I thought she
She
was
does these rather like emotional scenes well.
No, she only had one scene coming out the end. It's a scene with a cat.
Yeah.
So that's okay. And then,
Although when I saw this cinema, like a lot of people just started to laugh because
Yeah.
this was so unexpected.
yeah, but it was funny. It worked.
It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then they did a good job with the final scene where you saw her in this, and they have everything glowing.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's spoiled.
Yeah, but that's why I said glowing. So
Yeah.
that was alright. That wasn't so bad.
So let's get back, right? So performances were great.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence was great as always. I mean, she's the driving force behind the whole series anyway, and she doesn't disappoint here.
I disagree, but
All right.
I thought she was
I mean, she has some a couple of moments where she screams a lot. It's like but she does. Oh, you were confident actually. Come on.
I thought she was just dry. She was dry.
Maybe it's because of her character.
No,
Maybe it's because
she's
written
supposed to
that
be a little
way.
more because she just she ain't doing anything. That's no problem. Everything happened to her, and you didn't get a sense of her because even with when Peter was there and she tried to do some stuff and another whole thing with Peter. It didn't work.
Yes, right. And then she just comes back. She's all like,
No,
normal.
everybody else was
Sad.
good. Everybody else was good. They had this black chick who was one of the generals. She was pretty badass. Julianne Moore was good. Philip Seymour Hoffman was good. She's presence was good. General Sutherland, but she just couldn't. I don't know.
I think I would say it's probably just the character herself.
Yeah.
She's not the one who okay, something terrible happens, yeah, she'll react.
No,
But she's not going to react to every single terrible thing
I don't
that
know
happens.
if there's much about. To me, she's still a massively overrated actress. But whatever. I think she was not good.
I like her, but
Yeah, whatever.
yeah. The story itself, just the world that they create is very good. I like that they actually included moments of action and tension
Yeah.
in this.
Oh, another problem.
Section.
Another problem I had with this movie was the jump scares. A little too many jump scares.
Oh yeah, especially in that
Yeah.
Blade 2 sequence.
Yeah, no, it had way too
There's
many of those
jump
jump
scares. Yeah.
The movie had this, because everything is about some trap or some, which that's kind of the whole point. Is that it's
Yeah.
a trap and the trap could get you at any time. But it jump scared.
Yeah.
And it didn't build any good tension with it. So I suppose the idea is that, well, we could be normal and then the character dies.
But one thing about that though, I think it kind of goes against what the overall name Hunger Games is about. Is that moment what Ricardo's talking about is where the capital leads them into this specific area, and they have like the game designers, whatever.
Yeah, masters. Yeah.
Game masters, right?
Yeah.
And they design like a series of traps for the rebels. So it's kind of like their version of Hunger Games, but because Hunger Games are all about putting them in a specific spot, and they have to go through obstacle after obstacle to reach to this, not a finish line, but that's the end point really. So you do that same thing with the rebels. They have these sort of humanoid creatures following them in the dark in this sewer scene. There's guns, there's explosions, there's tar, there's all kind of madness in this. But for me, it just I like how it started up and how it was leading up and everything. I mean, I was expecting a full hour of traps, but it just kind of just wrapped everything up
Yeah, it's fast.
just rather quickly.
Yeah.
And then we just get back to the whole. And I remember, I went with a friend of mine. He was arguing that it's not about the Hunger Games anymore. It's all this propaganda and the government
Right,
is evil.
but that's
and that kind
good.
of thing.
I thought that worked for the most part. Actually, that was
Yeah.
my favorite part. Just like every time both sides get a chance to propagandize each other.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just take the opportunity.
Yeah, and that was actually really clever. Like how the story showed that
Yeah.
when Katniss was involved in the first two Hunger Games, or more particularly the first one, the capital was really put in this kind of high pedestal, like she is like the girl on fire, and there's all these propaganda stuff about it, like she is the one. And now that everybody is calling her the Mockingjay, and she's the hope in this revolution against the capital. Even the rebels themselves are using her in a series of like propaganda clips.
Yeah.
And you saw that introduced in the first film, which was with the first Mockingjay film, which was really cool. And you see it a little bit again in this one here, but you see more in the sense of, all right, Julianne Moore, who plays President Coin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of realizing that, there's some sort of ulterior motive going on here. It's not so much about inspiring the rest of the other districts to rally up against the capital. It's something else.
Yeah.
Something more sinister, and I like how they played that.
Yeah.
Another thing too, I liked how, although I can't really say I liked it, but it was kind of shocking to me, but what I really saw was it really gripped me in an emotional sense is how they really made the government look really bad though. Like,
No,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? In all
definitely.
three films you saw just how bad the government was, but in this one is like, wow, man.
Yeah, no, they're really.
Wow.
Well, both sides,
This
they, again, they
horrible.
made it work in the sense of innocence. Now. Both sides nobody's innocent to this. And President Coin's side was just terrible. Really.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah.
and then that leads up to the climax and the overall conclusion, which I guess I accepted the ending. It was an ending I didn't expect,
Yeah.
but what I kind of understand what was going on is kind of like,
It was a little predictable.
yeah,
It was a little predictable
yes,
on my part. I was like,
that's
yeah,
how it
she's
would end.
definitely gonna do this to this.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was predictable at that
Yeah.
point, but the outcome of it was kind of like, well, I guess
Yeah.
that would work, but
Yeah.
hey, the war is over, so yeah.
No, yeah, they made
Whatever.
it work for the most part. And again, in terms of like, it had no clear victories. It had no clear this. This could be the dark, future, but it was just the future that just end up settling.
Mm-hmm.
I get there's a low movie tongue, as I say. I can't get a high movie tongue. I have to change my rating only because of all the jump scares. I remember all the dumb jump scares that.
Alright, well, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of Hunger Games in general.
Yeah.
But and I don't know if at the end of it all, if it will stand the test of time.
Yeah, I don't see
the
that.
overall series as this important franchise in terms of just like dystopic cinema. Now.
Yeah, this topic. Yeah.
I mean, dystopic, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, it does a really good job of kind of showing it now to like a new audience. Although I still don't understand how young adults are supposed to watch all these things and be like, yeah, this book is awesome,
Yeah.
press the snow.
No, I like the fact. I like the fact
because it kind of comes off as, all right, who's your real audience, Jenny? You really think 14
Yeah,
15 kids
no,
gonna be
the
reading this, or is it for a
audience
bigger
the
crowd?
audience is for kids. I'm not denying that. But really, what it is that it doesn't talk down to children. That's my attitude. That's
Okay,
why I like about
well,
it.
yeah, that is true.
And compared to Twilight, which was just simply insulting to everyone's intelligence. everywhere.
Yeah.
But this not so bad. So I really
Yeah,
had
so-
very few problems with it.
Yeah, so for me, just overall, it was a satisfying conclusion for the most part, but I just felt that it would have hit a lot more, it would have been a lot more satisfying to me if it was just one full realized film instead of just
Yeah.
two films that were just stretched out that,
Yeah.
you know, you're just watching this and thinking to yourself, oh, why could it just be one film?
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
because they just want to make money and
Yeah.
cash on the whole
Alright.
Harry Potter
Yeah.
craze. But
Yeah.
just to round things up, so I will give it a strong 3 to a light 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's still worth checking out if you're a Hunger Games fan. Check it out as soon as you can. If you're not, well, you probably wouldn't really get much out of it.
You probably
but-
don't see it already.
Yeah, but I really do suggest that you see the previous films before. Don't watch the second one and then be like, oh, well, now I have to see the first one. Because it would motivate you to watch the first one. You have to
Yeah.
see the first one first and then
Yeah.
watch the others until it leads up to the very end. And then you will kind of get that sense of, it's done.
Alright. So I and Matthew should try to wrap up now. What else are we going to be watching? Next week is Creed.
Yeah, next week is Creed.
Yeah.
Good Dinosaur is coming out, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to check that out.
I doubt I'm going to see that because I heard
Yeah.
some bad news about that.
Yeah,
Look,
like, I was
look.
expecting. I wasn't really expecting Pixar to bring out another hit.
Yeah,
Another
that's
great
my
movie
problem.
like
Is that
Inside Out.
I have a serious problem to see that this stuff Inside Out just came out this year. I was like, what? You know, get a next
Yeah, like,
Pixar.
no, it's early this year. It came out though.
Yeah, but no, with Pixar movies, you take a time, you take a year or something like that. So that means a lot. I get a feeling that a lot of effort didn't go into a Good Dinosaur.
No, but there was some
Why is
production,
with
some
Inside
production
Out?
issues with Good Dinosaur.
Okay.
Just issues with directors changing over
Yeah,
time.
no. Once I
That's
hear
why-
that kind of stuff on Pixar, is like the thing on Pixar is that Pixar is a company that you don't give them deadlines, and if you give them deadlines and they have to put out a product, you're going to get a mediocre, very weak product. Planes, anyone, cars, cars 2, right? The only-
Planes Rescue.
Yeah,
that was
nonsense.
Find and Rescue.
Yeah, they just do that for
Something
money.
That was, yeah.
That yeah. Some people argue Toy Story 3, but I don't argue.
Hey.
But-
Toy Story 3 was great.
I defend Toy Story 3 as well.
Yeah.
But no, my thing is that I have a problem with that, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I might go watch it. I might make the effort to go see Steve Jobs still, not sure.
Yeah, I think you should before they actually
Yes,
start showing it.
I'll probably go watch. The thing is, I watched both films with Ashton Kutcher as well, and I'm probably going to
Jobs,
compare.
yeah.
And I heard that was horrible. So,
No, well, I mean, I heard Steve Jobs. Well, dude,
This one was
Aaron
good.
Sorkin,
right,
Dan
exactly.
Boyle, Fassbender, come
right.
on.
So it was, the combination of material. So, compare both films, take it in.
Yeah.
probably do
What
that.
else for the rest of the year?
Well, Star Wars
Star
coming.
Wars, dude.
Of course.
In the Heart of the Sea, I really want to see.
Yes,
that movie.
looking
I
good.
really, really,
Looking
really
down
want to see
good.
that movie.
For me, the film I really want to see before the year ends is Son of Saul. Really want to see that at the end of the year. Really
Right.
hope that comes true.
The premise sounds very interesting enough. So.
I really want to give it a chance. So, time for us to wrap up.
Yeah, might as well.
Here's why I'm rushing to wrap up because I'm playing Fallout 4 right now, and I just want to go back and play Fallout 4. Because
Yes.
I'm
And who
really
am I to get in the way of your enjoyment of Fallout 4? Which I probably might play in 5 years when I get a better.
no. Because they don't use. Actually, it's not a big deal because the engine they use pretty much the same engine from Fallout 3. So if you can play Fallout 3, you can probably play Fallout 4. Not
Yeah,
sure.
we had to hook them up with those games though. So.
Well,
Come on,
I
man.
don't-
Hook me up with that shit, dog. Come on.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, Fallout 4 is probably one of the. It's pretty damn good, pretty damn entertaining for me. So that's it.
Yeah.
What else, Matthew? That's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, Creed.
Yeah, so Creed, hopefully with our next podcast, Creed.
Yeah.
And then of course Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I still want to squeeze in somehow that in the Heart of the Sea. I don't know if I'll do it with the end of the year review, you know.
Yeah.
But you
I
should expect
I
those
really want to
coming.
make the effort to try to figure out a way to get to see Son of Saul. I'll probably just I have a couple little links here or there. I'll just get it to my early.
Yeah,
So,
he's got connection, folks.
yeah, maybe.
This
Later.
leader's got connection.
Bye.
But wait, before we go,
What?
come on.
What is it?
How can our listeners find
Of
us?
course, Matthew. You could find me,
Forget the
Ricardo
format,
Medina,
man.
on Twitter at RMEDDY. That's Armedi, at Armedi, on Twitter. And let's type in my name on Facebook. I am the Fallout Fort, most important. Ricardo Medina on Facebook. Matthew, where can they contact you, sir?
Alright, on Twitter you can find me if you type in Legally Black MGB. MGB is in capital letters. never mentioned it before, but yeah, it's in capital letters. Also on Facebook, you could find me, just search for Matthew Bailey. There's a few other Matthew Baileys like me, so with my name, sorry, so it's not like I'm the, Fallout Fort or, whatever. Also, in terms of my previous podcast, and my previous written reviews of films and TV shows and albums and whatnot, you could look for a Legally Black official fan page on Facebook, or you can type in legallyblack.wordpress.com. You see a link to this podcast here as well, to the others that we've done before, and the aforesaid written reviews as well.
Yes. So that's it there.
Yeah.
I can actually finally go now and leave to go play some more Fallout 4.
I am going to find a shitty 2015 movie to watch because I want to do a worst of list. I've been avoiding a lot of shitty movies this year with the exception of one particular one that I saw on my birthday, which we mentioned earlier, but I won't spoil that one until that review. So in the meantime, good night, good morning, good evening, whenever you listen to this. Remember the Mockingjay.
You may not, ultimately.
Yeah.
You may not. But that's life.
Yeah.
Alright, later.
Later. Bye.
Peace. Later.
Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me. Greg Glassman running, you know the words to my songs. Du redest jedes Lied. Our conversations ain't long, but you know what is. The girl them want, London to Taiwan. I got lipstick stamps on my passport. I think I need a new world. Been around the world, don't speak the language, but your booty don't need explaining. All I really need to understand is when you talk dirty to me.